What's going on, Preds fans? Happy Monday to you. This is Chad Minton, host of Catfish Ice on the Hockey Podcast Network and presented by DraftKings. We are bringing you our first edition of Quick Hitters of the Week on our YouTube channel for the Nashville Predators, the week of what's gone on with the Nashville Predators. Really excited to bring this to you again. We are presented by DraftKings, part of the Hockey Podcast Network. We will be recording episode 72 of the Catfish and Ice podcast later this evening. But first, I want to react to what's happened over the first week of the Nashville Predators 2021-22 season with my three quick hitters of the week. Let's get it rolling right now. And first, I wanted to get into these lineup decisions that John Hynes has decided to get going here. And it seems like we are just shuffling the lineup way too much after just 2 games into the season, 2 losses, but still it seems like John Hynes is making way too much lineup shuffling going on right now. We just saw Cody Glass get sent down to the Milwaukee Admirals after just 2 games of action. A really puzzling move, if you ask me, considering that Cody Glass was considered to be an important piece of the Ryan Ellis trade. So you send away Ryan Ellis, who is arguably one of the top defensemen that the Nashville Predators have ever had, along with, of course, Roman Josi and Shea Weber. He's now gone. He's with the Philadelphia Flyers. And now your key piece in that trade is back down in the AHL with the Milwaukee Admirals. I just find it to be a puzzling move this early after just 2 games. And then, of course, with that comes Tommy Novak, who is being called up from the Milwaukee Admirals, a player who was drafted in 2015 by the Predators. And now he has a chance to maybe make his NHL debut in the next game or 2. We'll have to see if that happens. But I'm happy for Tommy Novak, but I still do not understand this decision at all. I feel like you got to give more time for a player like Cody Glass to get his feet wet, to get comfortable. He's already shown in the past that he can be an impact on the power play, and he just hasn't gotten that chance yet through just 2 games, just not enough time. And then in return for that, also, let's talk about Philip Tomasino, another part of this lineup decision that we're getting here. Philip Tomasino was inexplicably benched on Saturday against the Carolina Hurricanes. So he makes his big NHL debut against the Seattle Kraken in the Thursday season opener, gets about 11 minutes of ice time, 10 and a half minutes of ice time, somewhere around there, gets 1 shot on goal, looked a little – I mean, let's be honest, it's so hard to make a transition into the NHL. And even as talented of a player as Philip Tomasino is, it was still very tough for him. He did get a shot on goal in that game. He looked kind of comfortable, more and more comfortable as the game went on. But then you're going to bench him in his second opportunity to get an NHL game. He gets benched, and Rocco Grimaldi comes in his place. And Rocco Grimaldi ends up getting less than 10 minutes of ice time in the game against the Carolina Hurricanes. Just doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand why you would make that decision. You've got to stick with something for a few games and let this lineup build chemistry and get comfortable. And in my opinion, you're not letting these players do that right now by shuffling this lineup so much. So that's why this is my first quick hitter of the week that has passed for the Nashville Predators as they have started the season 0-2. And that is all these lineup decisions and things being moved around. You also got to look at the defensive side of things. You saw in the first game, you saw Ben Harper out there who has a lot of people upset. And then, it's just one of those weird things right now where you're wanting to see just more clarity with the lineup. And so that's where we're at with it. And that's my first quick hitter of the week is these lineup decisions are not making sense for me. And they need to start coming up with a concrete answer on how this lineup is going to be built and then let them play for an extended amount of time, at least 5 or 6 games before you start pulling people out, sending people down to the AHL, bringing people up. I just think they need to give it more time. 2 games out of 82 games, and you're already making these rash decisions. I just think it doesn't make sense right now. Let's get to my next quick hitter of the week, and that is how the Predators are performing in these first 2 games. And it really comes down to too little, too late. And I feel like we've been saying this about the Predators for a while now, dating back to last season. And we're seeing it crop back up over the first 2 games of this season. Both games, the Predators gave up empty net goals only to score again and have a chance to tie it very late in the game, and they just couldn't get that last goal despite having a very strong effort. And so we got to start seeing the Predators complete a 60-minute game, and that's the biggest thing going into the next couple of games on the schedule. They got their next game this Tuesday night against the Los Angeles Kings, and that is just too little, too late with these games lately. They're getting in a hole. They're losing the lead in the second or third period, and then they're getting to where they have to empty the net to try to get that equalizer. They give up the empty net goal, and then they score again. We saw that against the Hurricanes. Philip Forsberg got a late goal against the Kraken. Mikael Granlund got a late goal, but it just wasn't enough to get it to overtime and battle for those extra points in overtime. It just hasn't been enough. So we need to see a complete effort. We need to stop seeing these self-inflicted wounds that the Predators are kind of doing on themselves. And that was especially true in the Seattle Kraken game. They really had some self-inflicted wounds and some defensive lapses. Against the Hurricanes are a very talented offensive team. And I thought the Predators did what they could to hang with them in a game where I felt like they were really outmatched. And they forced the Hurricanes to an 0-for-4 on the power play. So that's something you can hang your hat on. But again, they're making this final push to get the game to overtime way too late when they're already down multiple goals because they gave up an empty net goal. It's just not enough. So we need the Predators to start really taking control of the game in the first and second periods, especially the second period. And that's what's been a big problem. That's what they've got to get down to. That way they don't find themselves in these situations where they're having to pull the goaltender and go all for broke and hopefully not give up the empty net goal. It's just they got to make sure they don't have to get to that point of desperation in the first place. So that's my second quick hitter of the week. You can fix that area and you can start playing with more confidence, play with the lead, not put yourself in desperation mode. The Predators should get their first win here in the next couple games, either against the Kings or even the New York Rangers, as they open up this season on a 4-game homestand, and they've started off 0-2 against two perceived playoff contenders in the Carolina Hurricanes and the Seattle Kraken, but still, it's two very disappointing losses. And with that, takes us into our final quick hitter of the week here for Catfish on Ice on our exclusive YouTube channel for all of our subscribers. We appreciate you. And, of course, you see DraftKings as our sponsor, so use our promo code THPN to get some exclusive offers. Make sure you do that on sign up. Let's go to our last quick hitter of the week, and that is the upcoming schedule spells disaster. And that's especially true if they don't fix the previous quick hitter of too little, too late. So let's look at this upcoming schedule. They play the Kings on Tuesday. They play the Rangers on Thursday, I believe. And so that is two games that you think might be winnable, but at the same time, they're toss-up games for me. The Kings are a very improved team. They are really a team that's making that jump forward. They had a really good offseason. They beat the Vegas Golden Knights 6-2 in their season opener. Wow. You put up 6 goals on the Vegas Golden Knights and won by 4 goals. That right there is enough for me to be like, whoa, let's take this LA Kings team seriously. Of course, they have our guy Victor Arvidsson on the team, so we'll get to see Victor Arvidsson return to Bridgestone Arena in a Kings jersey. That's going to be very awkward and weird to see. I'm not looking forward to that at all. But the Kings are legit, and they could very easily send the Predators to 0-3, which is just not good news at all to be digging ourselves in a hole. I'm feeling like their first realistic chance at a win is going to be on Thursday against the New York Rangers. The Rangers are another team that are kind of in that fringe area, just like many people think the Predators might be in. Like maybe they can make a push for a wild card spot. It's kind of what I see out of the New York Rangers. I don't think they're a great team, but they're also not a slouch either. So I call that a toss-up. I think that's probably the best chance I see in this upcoming schedule for the Predators to get a win is on Thursday against the Rangers. If you made me bet on Tuesday's game, I don't feel very good about it. I feel like they're going to lose to the Kings. I don't like it at all. Kopitar is playing great for them. They're a really improved team. So I think Thursday's their best chance to get their first win against the Rangers. After that, they finally go on the road for the first time this season. They play at Winnipeg. That's going to be a really difficult game. They play at Minnesota. Minnesota is arguably the second best team in the division. And then you get San Jose at home after that. You would hope that if the Predators are 0-5 at this point, or 0-6, I should say at this point, things are going to start getting really, really ugly, of course. I mean, we're going to start hearing like calls for John Hines to get fired at that point if it's 0-6. They get San Jose at home. If you don't beat San Jose there, then we're talking about all-time horrible starts in franchise history. So that's kind of how the schedule looks. Then you get the New York Islanders at home to wrap up October. So when you look at the upcoming schedule, I don't see a lot of opportunities for a win. You better beat either the Kings, Rangers, or San Jose, or you're starting off 0-7. Ouch. I don't think it's going to get that bad, but it does look very, very daunting. That's our quick hitters of the week for the first time of the season for our YouTube channel. Go follow us on Twitter at Catfish Ice. Also on Facebook, go give us a follow and a like at Catfish Ice. And thank you for subscribing to the YouTube channel. Again, this is Chad Minton, host of Catfish on Ice. We got a brand new episode that we'll be recording tonight in preparation for this week ahead for the Nashville Predators. This is Catfish on Ice on the YouTube channel. This is Chad Minton, your host. Thanks for watching, and we will see you for episode 72 later tonight, streaming live on Twitter.